Since we finished the first story, I mean, even before the break of the stream, it's now, we had to find a second one. We had to find a second story for girls, and just looking at the title and the first page of this particular story, I think this one might be relevant. So, let us say that it's time to marry Rob. There he is. It's Rob. This is Rob. You're in love with Rob. Apparently, it is time to marry him. So, chat, do we love Rob? Or do we not love Rob? It's up to you. I mean, we don't know anything about Rob. All we know is his name, and we're seeing him in front of us. It's up to you entirely about whether or not we're actually in love with the man. The story tells us we are, but we have the ability to maybe disagree with the narrative. It's very close. It's just extremely close between love or do not love. Some people abstaining from the vote altogether with pizza, as they will do, but it's so close. I mean, if those three people voted for number one, it would be a tie. I mean, I can't really call it early because when someone's voting for three, I mean, there is no third choice. It does look like that number two is probably going to win, but it is so close, it could come back right at the last second. It could. But it doesn't look like it did. It looks like number two has won out. It looks like, we're gonna... Mr. Narrator, we're gonna say that I don't think that I love Rob. Please. You love Rob. You have Rob fever. Can this be true? Believe it. Rob is the king of your heart. When Rob walks into a room, your heart turns into an angel's eyeball and your groin does a poem. Okay, I understand. I love Rob. You're goddamn right you love Rob. He is the only slab of beefcake that your libido can understand. Rob travels the country selling cups of freezing cold vinegar out of the trunk of his minivan. You met him 5 years ago when he knocked on your door to sell you a cup of vinegar that had a bug in it for $75. When Rob saw how beautiful you were, he put a second bug in the cup, which he said was usually an honor reserved for the President of the United States. You fell in love with him immediately, and he has been your wonderful boyfriend ever since. Yes, I remember that day well. That was the happiest day of my life, the day I got the second bug in the freezing cold vinegar. One special night, Rob took you on a date to a restaurant so romantic that it only served lobsters that were in love with the chefs who boiled them alive. It was called Kiss Restaurant. It was their most romantic restaurant in the whole county. Yeah, I remember that. You went to Kiss Restaurant with Rob. The lobster tasted sour and brave. You could hear the ghost of the lobster laughing in heaven as you eat his meat. It was the best lobster you had ever had. 3 hours into the meal, Rob looked into your eyes and said, "Watch at this, amigo." He snapped his fingers, and 3 strippers dressed as sexy police officers dragged your car into the restaurant and blew it up with fireworks. It was the most romantic thing you had ever seen, and your heart shrieked and burped for Bob. Rob. Don't call him Bob, he doesn't like that. I never truly knew what love was until Rob blew up my car in the restaurant. Then a truly magical thing happened. Rob had his friend Edgard climb out of the wreckage of your blown-up car holding a beautiful engagement ring. "Rob wants to marry you," said Edgard, and he held the engagement ring really close to your eyes. It smelled like vinegar. "I dipped the ring in vinegar," Rob announced to the whole restaurant, and everyone applauded. Do you remember what happened after that? Chat, what did you say? Did you say yes? Or did you say no? Do you remember what happened? Looks like most of the chat is saying that, oh, they remember. Well, actually, this is not. No, I'm sorry. This is not if they remember. It's whether or not they said yes or no to the ring. I misread that question for a bit because the question says, "Do you remember?" But no, it's not whether you remember. It's did you say yes or no to the proposal? Most people, it does say. Looks like people are saying no. Looks like no is probably going to win this. So we're probably just going to end this vote. And we're going to say no to Edgard. Oh no! You said no to Rob's proposal. You're lost, raw dog, Rob said to you, and he walked out of the restaurant. I watched him leave, already regretting my terrible choice. Rob disappeared and you never saw him again. You went home and sat on your couch forever. You tried to become in love with other people, but Rob had made the rest of the human race appear repulsive by comparison. Many years later, you hear a knock on your door. You gotta answer it. That's what you do when you get a knock on the door. You open the door. It's Rob's parents. We just wanted to let you know that our son Rob is doing fine without you, they say. The day after you dumped him, he married a beautiful thing called an all-terrain vehicle, or ATV. They had sex and Rob got pregnant. The children are lizards, and they ate Rob. The ATV died of old age, and he got to be buried in the Great Pyramid of Giza with the great fat pharaohs. It was a wonderful life of love and happiness, and it could have been yours. You just completely blew it with our son Rob. Have a nice, horrible life until you die. Rob's parents leave, and you spend the rest of your life feeling bad. Then you die. You should have married Rob. The end. Oh, chat blew it. No, the chat wanged it. I'm sorry. You really wanged it. So clearly, we're going to say yes. Let's correct our mistakes, chat. We said yes. Yes, you agree to marry Rob. That's great news, Raw Dog, said Rob. We'll get married in exactly 10 years. Do not speak to me until then. And then Rob left the restaurant. That was the happiest moment of my life. 10 years ago. I mean, you gotta wait to make sure that he's the right choice. The right choice for each other. That was 10 years ago today, and now it's finally time to marry Rob. Your wedding's in 10 minutes at Office Max. Before you go, you're gonna have to pick out something to wear for your wedding. What would you like to wear? We have 3 choices. Chat, what would be the appropriate outfit to marry Rob? Remember, this is not just any wedding we're attending. This is a wedding to Rob. To Rob. This has to be perfect. It does seem like the chat, taking the form of Red Pac-Man, is pretty definitively saying we want that gender-neutral wedding suit. So I think we are going to stop that, and we're going to go with number 3, a gender-neutral wedding suit. Beautiful. Here's a picture of you wearing your gender-neutral wedding suit. You look ready for love. Perfect. A perfect smooth orb. Is there anything superior to perfection? Not a blemish on it. You have to go to our wedding at Office Max. Here you are at the only Office Max in the city. There used to be a second Office Max, but it got shut down for selling paper, which is one of the main ingredients in pornography. That's right. Did you know that if pornography is printed on paper, the paper itself becomes pornography? And as we all know, pornography is extremely illegal. Gotta go inside and get married to Rob. You're inside Office Max and it smells wonderful. You've always heard that Office Max smells like a flower, and now you know that the rumors are true. All your friends and family are here to celebrate your joyous wedding to Rob. The first thing you need to do is go to your wife nest, which is a special dressing room for the bride to get ready for the wedding. Well, we could either say hello to Rob, or we could go directly to the wife nest. The story seems to suggest that we should go straight to the wife nest. But of course, we don't have to. We could go say hi to Rob, but it does seem like the chat has no interest in saying hi. We're just going to head straight there. Yeah, it looks like it. Retreat into the wife nest. On your way to the wife nest, you run into Rob's best man, Morris. Morris also sells ice-cold vinegar out of his car door to door. Oh, I guess this is Morris's theme. And he met Rob at the International Vinegar Salesman's Shirtless Bible Study, which is where the millions of vinegar salesmen from all over the world get together at Stonehenge to take off their shirts and read the Bible to each other. We got 3 choices. How do we want to talk to Morris? What would be the appropriate greeting for Morris? Do we say hi? Do we tell him that he's looking especially mortal today? Or do we just say that we have to get to the wife nest? Get out of here! Most people are saying that he is looking pretty mortal today. Morris, you were looking mortal. I have a confession to make to you, says Morris. I'm in love with you. I have been in love with you since the day that Rob whispered... sorry! Whispered a description of what you look like to me during International Vinegar Salesman's Shirtless Bible Study. All right. We got 2 choices here. So, do we not want to be confronted with this? Or do we say that we understand? Looks like most people are saying that we're going to go with number 1 on this one. I understand that. This is not the time, you know? Morris, do not confront me with this bullshit on the day of my wedding. Please listen. Why don't you leave Rob and marry me instead? I'll make you so happy. I'll take you to a cave that has a leather jacket in it. Now we have 2 choices here again. So does our heart belong to Rob? Or we could go see a leather jacket in a cave. It's tempting. Of course, this is a story for girls, and this is a choice that most girls will have to make in their lives. So, important lesson to be learned here. Most people are saying that we want to see that leather jacket. Most people do, so here we go. Okay, I want to see a leather jacket in a cave. I love you now. You decide to leave Rob and give your heart to Morris. He takes you to the mouth of a cave. Hey, is there a leather jacket in there? Morris screams into the cave. Yeah, there's a leather jacket in here. I'm standing on it. A man's voice calls out from deep inside the cave. Wow, you got to see a cave that had a leather jacket inside of it. You didn't marry Rob, but you did get to marry Morris. Who is worse? The end. That's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. You know, I think that we have no time for this. We got to get to the wife nest. Come on, chat. Keep your eyes on the prize, and the prize is Rob. Wait, I love you. Marry me instead of Rob, calls Morris as you walk past him. You're too focused on getting ready to marry Rob to listen to Morris right now. You retreat to your wife nest. This is where the person who is waiting to marry Rob gets ready for the ceremony and waits for the wedding to start. The first thing you will have to do is meet your maid of honor. The maid of honor is a fanatical priestess who devotes her life to making sure the bride does not get eaten by animals during the wedding. We have 2 choices here. As the maid of honor theme begins. Man, the chat is all in favor of getting this maid of honor. All right, that's what we're going to do. Bring me my maid of honor. Show it to me. Here is your maid of honor. Her name is Denna Lumbergus. She is your best friend that you have ever... She is your best friend that you have ever seen. And so now she is the main priestess on your wedding day. This is such a special day for you. You must be so excited to marry Rob. Chat. Two choices. What do we have to say about marrying Rob? Are we excited about it? Yeah, I think that number one is probably going to win, because if we weren't excited, then what are we even doing here? What are we even doing here? We could be in a cave with a leather jacket if we weren't excited about this. Yes, I'm just crazy about Rob. My brain is on fire with Rob-mania. Well, I just want you to know that I'm going to make sure that no animals eat during the wedding. I'm going to make it so that years from now, when you look back on your wedding day, the main thing you'll remember about it is not getting eaten by an animal. Thank you. That sounds ideal. You'll have to excuse me now, says Denna Lumbergus. I need to go into the office, Max, and kill all the animals in it before you walk down the aisle. She leaves the wife nest. All right, you've met the maid of honor. It's almost time for the wedding to begin. The last thing you need to do now before the wedding to begin is call up the mayor of your city in order to let him know that you're about to get married. If the mayor doesn't know about your wedding in advance, then the wedding will be illegal, see? This is advice that girls need to know. I didn't know about this part. I didn't know that we had to call the mayor. So I'm learning something tonight. Call the mayor up. You pick up the phone and call the mayor. I can't actually think of an Obama impression. This is the mayor's office, says the mayor. If you're calling to register your wedding with the government, please say yes. If you're calling to make fun of how my hands are always visibly soaking wet, please wait for me to put you on the speakerphone so that my wife and children can hear your insults and laugh at them too. I hope that's okay. I don't want to be disrespectful or anything. Two choices. So, are we calling to register, or do we want to call and make fun about his hands? His wet hands? It looks like we're going to make fun of the hands. Chat is nothing if not predictable. I'm calling to make fun of how your hands are always wet. Okay, great. Let me put you on a speakerphone and get my wife and kids in here so they can laugh at how wet my hands are also, said the mayor. Please hold for 1 second. Hold on for only 1 second. The mayor blows a whistle that says family on it, and he and his wife and children enter the Oval Office, which is where the mayor does all his city business. My family, says the mayor. I have someone on speakerphone who's going to make fun of my wet hands now. You know, it's been a while since I've seen Michelle and the children, but, man, time has not been kind. It has not. Oh, we love to make fun of your wet hands, Papa, shrieks Arnold the Shrew, one of the mayor's most loyal sons. The mayor's wife and children all applaud in agreement. Let's start making fun of those hands. Okay, let's get started, says the mayor. Let's make fun of my wet hands. Which one of these should we say? Which is the best insult for the hands? Oh, I need to get that up. Looks like 2's winning. They're all pretty nasty insults, I would say. But number 2, it does look like it's certainly going to win, so we're going with that. Mr. Mayor, your hands are so wet that your fingers look like the raw hot dogs I dipped in the ocean this morning as a way to taunt God. The mayor's wife and children shriek with delight. It's true! His wet hands are ridiculous! The mayor's wife, Josephine Birthday Suit, is this a Suda game? Screeches with wild eyes. More insults! There must be more insults for my father's wet hands! Bellows the mayor's most honest son, Lumbers T. Gordon. Did we keep going? Or we had enough? Have we had enough of this? And it looks like the chat has not had enough. So we're going to keep making fun of the mayor's wet hands. Stop it. Stop letting me have it. Stop going no holds barred against my wet hands. I command it. Oh man, these are getting lengthy. They just barely fit on the screen. I'm going to let the chat read these for a bit before I turn the vote on. Just give you maybe a few seconds to just take it all in. Well, that's the old vote. Let me start the new vote. There it is. So one of them is about having sex with a glove. If Poseidon has sex with a glove. Another is King Tut transforming the daughter into a woman. And then there's one about the Titanic. Well, number 3, it seems to be winning right now. It's always a good time when you can fit a Titanic reference in there. And yeah, that looks like that's gonna win. Number 3. Okay. Mr. Mayor, I don't mean to blast you to smithereens with my insults here, but I heard that when the Titanic was sinking, the captain saw your fingers floating in the ocean and said, well, we're gonna die, but at least the last thing I'll ever see are those 10 extremely wet sausages floating in the middle of the ocean. Those are the wettest sausages I've ever seen. And then the first mate had to say, Captain, those aren't wet sausages. Those are the absolutely soaking wet fingers of a mayor who hasn't been born yet. But I can understand the mistake considering how wet those fingers are. Come on, am I right, folks? Absolutely brutal. The mayor's wife and children are losing their entire brains with insane glee. What is being said about my husband's damp as the deep hands is so true and humiliating. This is the best day of my life, crows the wife of the mayor. She fires a revolver into the ceiling as she screams with delight. She loves when people call up and make fun of how her husband's hands are very wet. Oh man, we got another... Chat? What are we doing? What are we doing here? I don't know how much more the mayor's hands can take this, but it looks like we're going with number 2. All right. Get ready, Mr. Mayor, because here comes yet another insult about your glistening hands. Stop making fun of my wet hands, says the mayor. If you make fun, my oceanic mitten stuff is one more time, I'm gonna hang up this phone and banish you to a worse city. Don't listen to him, yells the mayor's wife and children. Just totally fry him alive for his wet hands. And like I guess you would hear them in the background. Oh, there's 2 options here. 2 options. Do we stop making fun of the hands, or do we go one more time? Do we go one more time? This is a very controversial decision in the chat. But it looks like it's pretty one-sided now. It looks like people are saying that number 2 has to win. Well, all right. If you're sure. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'll stop making fun of your hands. Life's too short to spend it making fun of people, and frankly, we need to cherish every moment that we're alive, considering it's a goddamn miracle we've been able to survive since your hands have apparently absorbed all the water on Earth. Fuck you, you wet-handed idiot. I mean, what I don't understand is, why haven't all the humans on Earth died of thirst, considering that your damp as fish hands have apparently absorbed all the goddamn water on Earth. So that was the choice we did. Hooray! Scream all the mayor's wives and children in unison. They start high-fiving each other and blowing kisses. Mwah. Watch at the man watching through the window. Oh no, the man in the wheelchair through the window and giving him a thumbs up. You roasted the mayor. You roasted him to toast. Yes, I did a roast to toast. That's it, says the mayor. I've put up with this long enough. It's not my fault that my hands are so wet. I hit a water priest with my bicycle by accident, and he told me that my hands had to be his wife's forever. As soon as he said that, my hands became as wet as the ocean. So stop making fun of my wet, cursed hands. I'm hanging up on you. I never want to talk to you on the phone again. Goodbye. So, you know what? We might be pressing our luck. But we have another choice. We have another choice here. Another choice to be made. It looks like we're going to go with that choice. You are the King Midas of making things incredibly wet. By this I mean everything that you touch turns into something very wet. Your hands are wet. I'll call you tomorrow to remind you about this. The mayor hangs up on you because you roasted him so bad. You didn't get to register your wedding to Rob with the government, but you'll probably be okay. You'll probably not get arrested for having an unregistered wedding. The mayor is too busy recovering from getting fully roasted to do anything. Okay, cool. Suddenly, the door to your wife nest opens, and Rob's parents walk in. We come to tell you, it's time to walk down the aisle to marry our wonderful son. The one you do not deserve, says Rob's mom. Rob has a timeshare in North Carolina. It's not near the ocean, it's near the airport. You are not a good enough person to enjoy our son's timeshare. Now get out there and marry him against our wishes. Well, they don't like us, but we have Rob mania. I mean, they don't have a say in this, I think. Do we get out there and marry Rob? Or do we try to impress Rob's parents by killing an endangered elephant? Endangered elephant? It seems like the chat is saying we need to kill that elephant. Not because we like killing an endangered animal, it's just we want to get the approval of Rob's parents so badly, we'll do anything. In order to impress Rob's parents, you open the window of the Office Max, find an endangered elephant walking around in the parking lot, and shoot it with your musket. I'm done for, cries the elephant as the bullet lodges itself in his endangered liver. The elephant sinks to the ground. Tell my wife, I'm huge, the elephant gasps. It utters a mortality burp and then dies. Chat. Do we check to see if the parents are impressed? Or do we go up to the parents and talk to them about what we just did? Looks like we are saying it's going to be number 2. Well, how about that, you guys? I was able to kill an enormous elephant using nothing but my bare hands, which were holding a gun, which I used to shoot the elephant. It looks like I might be worthy of marrying Rob, don't you think? This is very unimpressive, says Rob's mom. So you killed one animal. Big deal. Killing animals is extremely easy. I've bitten the heads off of 200 mice since I walked in here. Not bad, but you're still not good enough for our son, says Rob's dad. But you know it would be really impressive if you got those elephants' tusks and let me have them for my face. All right, do we forget about the parents? They're never going to be satisfied with us. Or do we go get the father of the elephant tusks? I mean, we did the hard job. We killed the elephant. He could go get the tusks himself, but it looks like the chat is saying we're going to go get those tusks. Fine. You pull the tusks off the elephant you just killed and attach them to Rob's dad using surgery. Ah, yeah, that's the surgery we learned about in our previous story. Yes, I am finally beautiful, says Rob's dad. I can't wait to get home and rub sunscreen all over my brand new tusks. Did I impress you? Do you think I'm good enough to marry your son now? Before Rob's dad can answer, he is spotted by the Office Max Wilderness Death Brigade, the ruthless band of poachers who drive in circles around the Office Max parking lot looking for ivory. They see the beautiful tusks jutting out of his head and they start cheering about it. There's the ivory we crave, yell the poachers. They all point their harpoon guns at Rob's dad. No, don't kill me. I need to stay alive so that I can rub sunscreen on my tusks. What do we say about this? Do we plead with the poachers not to kill him, or do we compliment the harpoons? It looks like we are going to compliment the harpoons. Thank you! We won these harpoons in an ivory loving contest. We loved ivory the most, so the EPA gave us these harpoons to go poach animals with tusks, yell the members of the Office Max Wilderness Death Brigade. They shoot Rob's dad with 10 harpoons and blow him up with dynamite. Then they harvest his tusks. Since Rob's dad is dead now, your wedding is cancelled so that Rob can be buried alive with his father's corpse, which is the polite thing to do. You didn't get to marry Rob, but at least you got to see a real harpoon gun up close, which is pretty cool. Nah. We have to marry Rob. Alright. See, we're just going to go out there and marry Rob. I don't care what the chat wants now. We're going to marry him. You step out of your wife nest and into the marital kingdom of Office Max. All your wedding guests turn to look at you. The wedding band starts to play the beautiful song, The Unstoppable March of the Bride. This is the traditional song for when the wife enters during a wedding ceremony. I guess we're going to say that the next track that plays is The Unstoppable March of the Bride. Let's find out what it is. Yeah, okay. That seems all right. Do we begin walking down the aisle? Or do we listen to the band play The Unstoppable March of the Bride? Looks like the chat is trying to do everything they can to put off marrying Rob. It's clear now. It's clear what their game is. Alright, we're going to listen to the band play. The orchestra is playing a beautiful rendition of The Unstoppable March of the Bride. As musicians play, they scream the words of the song over the sound of their instruments. The bride is on the loose. She is marching towards the groom. No weapons can kill her. No gods can destroy her. Hide all of your groceries. Lock your groceries in a safe. Because if the bride finds your groceries as she marches towards her groom, she will grab your groceries and dump them all over the floor. Just to ruin your life. The bride is on the loose. No groceries are safe as she marches towards her groom. Her approach is horrifying and inevitable as death. That's really not the lyrics I expected here. You begin your march down the aisle. As you walk past the wedding guests, they will reach into your pockets and ruffle around for mints and batteries, as is tradition. Oh, so which should we fill our pockets with, mints and batteries, or crickets and dominoes? Well, we know which one tradition says we should do, but are we a gal who adheres to tradition, or do we buck tradition? Looks like most people are saying that we're giving the middle fingers to tradition. Let's fill the pockets with crickets and dominoes. Incredible. You have gone against tradition. Instead of filling your pockets with mints and batteries, you have filled them with the exact opposite. Crickets and dominoes. Your pockets are bulging. The crickets are definitely trying to kiss the dominoes. It's now time to march down the aisle to marry Rob. Here we go. Let's do it. It's time. It's time to marry Rob. You begin walking down the aisle. As you walk by all your guests, they stick their hands into your pockets and begin ruffling around. Now let's get our hands on those mints and batteries that we so dearly crave, the guests say as they reach into your bridal pockets. I need to have my mints and batteries, says your childhood dentist as she reaches into your pockets. At last, surrender the bounty of your pockets to me, says your mom as she shoves both her hands into your pockets. I am going to sell these mints and batteries on Craigslist for $60. Every guest is eagerly rooting around in your pockets as you walk past, looking for the traditional mints and batteries so that they can have them, or sell them for a profit on Craigslist. This is one of the oldest and most sacred wedding traditions in the world. Uh-oh, we got two choices. Do we just smile and nod as they do this? Or do we announce to them what we have done? It seems like most people want to go with number 2. You know, for me, I usually go with the subtle approach and just let them find out about it for themselves, but the chat says we need to announce it. You fools! You'll have to search pretty goddamn deep in my pockets to find the mints and batteries you crave. Behold, I have stuffed my pockets with the very opposite of mints and batteries. I have stuffed my pockets with crickets and dominoes. Oh, we've become the queen of lies. Wait a minute, it's all crickets and dominoes, screams one of your aunts. I didn't want this. I wanted mints and batteries. This is horrible, shrieks your grandfather, who bravely switched sides 30 times during the Battle of Stalingrad. He dies of a broken heart right there in his seat. The crickets are kissing the dominoes, which I love, but I'm eating the crickets, and they don't taste like mints, which I hate, bellows your cousin, Smooth Rojas. Ooh, that is a good name. Who was a professor of bitter flavors at MIT. All of your wedding guests are furious. Everyone starts booing you as you walk down the aisle. They pelt you with the mints and batteries they brought from home because you didn't have any mints and batteries in your pockets for them to steal. We got two choices. Do we revel in the anger, or do we ask them to forgive us? Looks like we're reveling. Haha! Welcome to Misery City, you idiots. I've fooled you all. It's crickets and dominoes all the way down. Happy wedding day to me. Not you. Me. Suddenly, in the midst of all the yelling and screaming, the lights in the office max go out and a puff of red smoke appears in the middle of the room. There is a clap of thunder and the sound of a bat laughing like a zombie. Frightening noise. How would that go? Like, a bat is very high-pitched, but a zombie is sort of low and moaning, so it would be like... It'd be something like that. A sinister figure steps out of the puff of red smoke. Look to see who the sinister figure is. It's the devil! Satan from the Bible. Hello, says the devil. I was watching your wedding to Rob from hell, the realm of the damned, and I saw you put crickets and dominoes in your pockets instead of mints and batteries. This is the most fucked up, evil deed that anyone has ever done. Your sin is so wildly messed up that I would like to make you the king of hell. Wow, that's quite an honor. What do we do? We do need to marry Rob, but we could become the king of hell. The chat's pretty definitive about becoming the king of hell. So, alright. Don't look a gift devil in the mouth, I guess. Because of your evil pocket trick, the devil makes you the king of hell. You spend the rest of your life torturing damned souls and whispering swear words to the devil, which is the most sinister thing you can possibly do. When you die, You go to heaven for doing such a good job as the king of hell. You fail to marry Rob. The end. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't the goal of the game, of the story. We failed. I mean, at least we went to heaven for doing such a good job, but we're here for a reason, chat. We're here for a reason. We need to walk down that aisle. We need to fill our pockets with mints and batteries. All right, you got it? As tradition dictates, you fill your pockets with mints and batteries. As you walk down the aisle, all your guests will rifle through your pockets and find these bad boys waiting for them. They're gonna love it. You begin walking down the aisle. As you walk by all your guests, they stick their hands into your pockets and begin ruffling around. Now let's get our hands on those mints and batteries. That's what we so dearly crave. The guest says as you reach into your bridal pockets. I need to have mints and batteries, says your childhood dentist as she reaches into your pocket. At last, surrender the bounty in your pockets to me, says your mom as she shoves. Craigslist. All the guests, they're eager. We're marching. As you walk down the aisle, you pass your childhood dentist, Mouth the dentist. I'm so proud that you're finally getting married, says Mouth the dentist. I remember when you were just a little small child, and you would come to my office, and you would pay me $90,000 to glue birdseed to your teeth, so that pigeons would come live in your mouth. The pigeons turned your mouth into a medical horror show, and now your teeth twist around each other like ivory licorice. But it was very cute at the time. Couple things we could say to Mouth. You decide which one we're going to say. Both of them are fairly strong statements. Most people, though, are saying number 2. So let's go for it. When the pigeons were living in the forest of my teeth, one of the pigeons stuck its head out of my mouth and whispers God's true name into my ear. If I ever repeat it, it will end the world. Mouth the dentist sticks her hands into your bridal pockets. Now, I will get my hands on your mints and batteries, she says. She pulls out a fistful of mints mixed with batteries. Wonderful, says Mouth the dentist. I have got the sweet bounty. I'm going to put these mints and batteries into a basket and then flip off the basket using my incredible middle finger. Which one do you want to go with? Do we thank Mouth, or do we just smile at Mouth? Looks like we're going to thank. It's only polite. It's only polite after all. You continue marching down the aisle, smiling as everyone reaches into your pocket and pulls out the batteries and mints they crave. You walk past your grandfather, who fought in World War II and bravely switched sides 30 times during the Battle of Stalingrad. Yeah, he is alive this time because we adhered to tradition. Got a few things we could say. How did we greet our grandfather? Yeah, you can see right away that it's Red Pac-Man time, as number 3 is going to dominate the vote. Grandpa, I'm so proud that you switched back and forth between fighting for the Nazis and the Soviets over and over again during the Battle of Stalingrad. I think I've just forgotten about any other voices. I'm so happy that I lived to see you marry Rob, said your grandfather. Many times I would go to the doctor. He'd put his stethoscope in my head and he would say, well, old man, it seems like it's time for your brain to turn into oatmeal. I would say, no, my brain cannot turn into oatmeal yet. I need to live to see my grandchild marry Rob. And then that doctor would say, okay, but as soon as that happens, promise me that your brain will turn into oatmeal. And I promised him. So the second the clock strikes midnight, My brain needs to turn to Major League porridge. Where are we going to bury Grandpa? It's the least we could do. Looks like we're going to bury him underneath a GameStop. Assuming that there are any left in the near future. And now, let me get my hands on that treasure of mints and batteries, says your grandfather as he reaches into his pockets. How glamorous, says your grandpa as he pulls out a fistful of mints and batteries, all just mixed up together. I'm gonna pay a scientist $600 to bring these mints and batteries to life so that they can fight each other and kill each other. Thank you for coming to my wedding, Grandpa. I'll see you tomorrow when you're dead. You continue marching down the aisle. The music swells. Your friends and family steal mints and batteries from your pockets. You are the bride on the horrible march. You are the wife on parade. Several wild animals, including an endangered Bengal tiger and a python, try to devour you, but you're maid of honor. Dender Lumbergus kills them by driving into the wedding. Oh, you know, it's our maid of honor. I read that as that you are maid of honor. But no, it is your maid of honor. Denna Lumbergus kills them by driving into the wedding in a glamorous stretch limousine and running them all over. You make your way down the aisle until finally you arrive at Rob. Finally, you make it all the way down the aisle and arrive at the altar where Rob is waiting to marry you. Hello, raw dog, Rob says to you. 3 things we could do to Rob. Well, chat, we are now confronting the final boss of our heart, Rob. Looks like everyone wants to give Rob $1. It's only polite. As a sign of your everlasting love, you give Rob $1. Sweet deal, raw dog, says Rob as he takes the $1. This is the perfect gift because the vending machine at the airport sells bottles of seltzer for exactly $1. Well, what's 2 choices? How do we respond? Chad is saying number 2. It's my gift to you, my love. Now let's finally become husband and wife. In most vending machines, bottles of seltzer are at least $1.50, Rob says. But in the vending machine at the airport, they're just $1. It's amazing. I'm gonna go get one now. Rob puts the $1 in his pocket, walks down the aisle, and exits the office max, leaving you stranded at the altar. What? Chat, you might have blown it for us here. What do we do, chat? What do we do? He's leaving. No, it's very even. It's very even. The chat can't make a decision in this crisis. It looks like number 2 is going to win. Yeah, I would... It looks like number 2 is going to be in the lead here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going with number 2. We're going to silently reach out for Rob as he leaves us at the altar. Rob leaves your wedding and walks all the way to the airport, where he uses the $1 you gave him to buy a bottle of seltzer from the vending machine. He drinks the seltzer without stopping to breathe and then walks onto an airplane whose destination says Singles Cruise on it. The airplane lands on a boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, where Rob meets plenty of hot single people. That's not sad enough. Hold on. Not sad enough. No. That's alright. The airplane lands on a boat in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, where Rob meets plenty of hot single people who want to hear all about the cheap seltzer he drank at the airport. He never returns to dry land. You fail to marry Rob. No. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. We are not going to give Rob $1. Look, you know what works? You know what has worked for us? Winking. It's worked pretty well. So we're going to wink at Rob. Please don't wink at me, raw dog, says Rob. When I cannot see both of your eyes, I am worried that the eye I cannot see is going to sneak on me from behind and steal my necklace. Chat, how do we respond? We have to be very careful, otherwise we might not be able to get married. Looks like we're going to say number 2. Wise precautions like that are one of the main reasons I fell in love with you, Rob. A hush falls over the crowd, and the priest takes his place at the altar. Apparently, this takes place in the same universe as Detroit. He speaks. Hello, everyone. I'm the priest. I was built out of metal by an ancient race of rat-like space travelers who briefly stopped on Earth 900 million years ago as a pit stop on their journey. Actually, we could, do this. Hold on. Whoops. Is that...
The AV Club.
No, don't read that.
Gizmodo.
No, I mean, here. Here, read this.
I am the priest. I was built out of metal by an ancient race of rat-like space travelers who briefly stopped on Earth 900 million years ago as a pit stop on their journey to send a spaceship containing their entire civilization into the sun. Today is a celebration of love. We are here to witness the wedding between Rob and his unworthy wife.
It's pretty quiet, it's true.
Nod. Smile and nod.
That might not work because of how quiet it is, but there is something happening. Chat, do we smile, do we nod, or do we smile and nod? Looks like we're saying number 3. We're going to smile and nod about this. I understand, I don't think you were able to hear that, so I'm just going to have to take it myself. I understand that Rob has written his own vows. Says the priest. Rob, please read your vows. Rob clears his throat. Oh, that's actually a bit louder now. Hold on. Let me turn that down. Rob clears his throat and begins to read his vows. Konnichiwa, raw dog. I love ya, and I promise I'll never tie you to the train tracks and twirl my mustache maniacally while a train runs you over. On the way here, I saw 2 foxes doing it in a moving car. The foxes were in the driver's seat and there was no one else in the car. I believe the foxes were propelling the car through the sheer power of the beastly lovemaking. Amen. Do we wipe our tears of joy away, or do we openly weep with joy? How emotional are we from Rob's vows? It looks like that the chat wants to openly weep. Rob's vows are completed. Everyone in Office Max erupts into emotional cheers. Nobody is good enough for my son, yells Rob's mom. I deserve to surrender my lungs to a jellyfish because I'm not related to Rob, yells your entire family in unison. In my 900 million years of life, I have never heard anything more beautiful, says the priest. He turns to you. If you're ready to continue, please say, I'm ready to continue. Chat, are you ready to continue? It's going back and forth on this one. It seems like a pretty clear choice, chat. It's fairly even. It doesn't seem like we're that committed to Rob. I'm just saying that you'd think that we would be more on the side of marrying Rob, considering that we have to marry Rob, but we seem pretty divided about this on a subject that I thought we were all on the same page on. And after those incredible vows we just heard, it's tied. Actually, number 1 is... No, it's tied again. It is tied again. Number 1 is in the lead. Only a few seconds. And that's it. It was close, but number 1 pulled ahead right at the end, which means that I am ready to continue. The priest turns to you It seems that Rob's bride could not be bothered to write vows, so we will use the pre-written vows from the Bible. Let's begin. You solemnly swear to love Rob all the time and never go to sleep. What do you think? I didn't know that when you get married, the wife can never go to sleep. Again, this is educational. I'm learning things today. It looks like most people are now committed to Rob. And it looks like that we're saying yeah. Looks like we are saying yeah. Looks like that one is enough in the lead that it's going to head in that direction. So we are going with number 1. And do you swear that if Rob ever begins squirting sweet red juice out of his mouth into a jar and wakes you up in the middle of the night and shows you the jar and says, "This is my nectar," you will immediately smile at Rob's nectar and protect Rob's nectar from warthogs? Again, chat. How strong is your commitment to Rob? I'm surprised that they're actually doing the nectar vow. Most Christian sects don't really adhere to this one. It's considered outdated. So this is quite orthodox, I think. Looks like we're going with number 1. I do. And do you swear that if Rob finally drinks his own nectar and dies, you will cover Rob's body with napkins so that the warthogs can't find him and drag his corpse into the pond for the fish to lay their eggs inside of? Can we make that choice? Can we commit to this? It looks like the chat is saying that we can. We can commit. Of course I do. The vows are now complete, says the priest. It is my great honor to now pronounce you bride and Rob. You may kiss Rob on the wrist now. Let's do it. Let's kiss that wrist. We've been waiting 10 years for this. You kiss Rob on the wrist. Rob kisses you on the wrist. You are now married, says the priest. My function is completed. The priest self-destructs. For your honeymoon, you and Rob go to Raleigh-Durham International Airport. You use a Wi-Fi hotspot to look up the difference between white eggs and brown eggs, and then you go home. It's voted most romantic honeymoon in that month's issue of Marriage Digest. You spend a happy, loving life with Rob until you both die 12 weeks later, when the Earth abruptly blinks out of existence. Congratulations, you married Rob. The end. Well, we did it. We finally made it. I mean, that's the thing that we've been trying to do. We made it. It was a surprisingly difficult path to actually get to that. But we made it happen. We put the batteries and the mints in our pockets. Went down the aisle. The people took them. We made the vows to Rob. And we kissed each other on the wrist. It's a shame that we died so soon afterwards, but you know what they say, the flame that burns the brightest lasts the shortest, or something like that. It was a passionate 12 weeks. So I guess that probably means that's the end of our story time. I mean, how can we top Rob? This is like the best ending that's possible to get in any story. Now, of course, it was the case that previously we did get another ending where we became the king of hell, and the chat was quite keen to make that our final ending because, hey, we became the king of hell. You can't get married, can't do any better than that, right? And we went to heaven afterwards. But of course, this is a story for girls. This is about lessons that girls will need for their lives as they grow up and move on in the world. And what better lesson could a girl learn that despite the choices that she might make, that a man will force her to take the other choice and marry Rob? Have a good night.